known to the world. So that's why I wanted to share their story.
CNN's Kaitlan Collins could not hold back tears during an emotional live interview with Andy Beyer, a grieving father who lost his wife and daughter in a catastrophic plane crash. His story is unimaginable, but it's one the world needs to hear. A routine trip that turned into a nightmare. Andy's wife, Justina, and their 12-year-old daughter, Brielle, were on an American Airlines flight returning home from a figure skating camp in Wichita, Kansas. They were just minutes from landing in Washington, D.C., where Andy and his son eagerly waited to pick them up. Then disaster struck. Their plane collided mid-air with a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter. There were no survivors, the moment he knew something was wrong. Andy vividly remembers the exact moment his world changed forever. We were texting them, just like always. The flight tracker said landed, but then suddenly the messages stopped going through. The text turned from blue to green. At first, confusion, then dread. He immediately called someone who confirmed his worst fear: their plane had crashed. A father's heartbreaking conversation with his son. The next moments were gut-wrenching. Andy turned to his son, who was still waiting in the car. I told him. He climbed into the front seat with me and he just let out this long, painful cry. There were no words, just pain. This family had already defied the odds. What makes this tragedy even more devastating? Brielle was a fighter. At just 4 months old, she was diagnosed with cancer. But she survived. She grew up strong, talented, and full of life. Andy reflected on what his family meant to him. All I ever wanted as a kid was a family to love, and we had it. We were living our dream. She was the dream girl you could ask for. Then his voice broke as he whispered the unthinkable, and just like that, it was taken away. CNN anchor moved to tears. As Andy shared his unimaginable grief, Kaitlan Collins broke down on air. Viewers watched as she wiped away tears, clearly overwhelmed by the heartbreaking story. Even in his pain, Andy had just one request. I want people to remember them, to say their names, to keep their memory alive. A husband without his wife, a father without his daughter, a tragedy no family should ever have to face.